Hey everybody, Bill Rogers here, and we've been doing a tour of the career tech programs here at Somersworth High School. We've seen 6 of the 9 programs with 3 to go. But before those final 3, we have one more stop in this tour of a couple of people who really make the program run. Lindsey just sent off a form for our completers. Lindsey organizes all of those, looks at budget, makes sure that things are coming out of the right place, going to the right place, and wow, Katelyn Carrington, who is the boss of the CTC programs. Wow, what makes this place tick? Here with Lindsey. How are things going there at the control headquarters?
Pretty good. Missing the kids, but really pretty good. Working through all the stuff we need to do to make it work.
Yeah, and there's so much. There's so much to get a complex system like a CTC working. What do you hear from other instructors in terms of how remote learning is working for them?
It can be really tricky, especially if a student isn't familiar with the different services that are available for remote learning. So if they've never logged into their email, if they've never logged into Google before. So that was the first big step. Even just kids forgetting passwords and different things like that. On top of students who are normally visual learners, how that might work or not work for them. And then on the other hand, there's some kids that are really doing well because the classroom environment was stressful for them. So it really depends. I think with CTC in particular, it's definitely more difficult for a student to grasp the things that are being shown, and also harder for teachers to show the different things that they want students to do and things like that.
I was talking with Chef Allen, and she was talking about Tabulating Tuesday, some of the exercises that she's been working on with her students. I've been very impressed with how she is finding things to do, and similarly with Mr. Chick, just walking around his house, finding activities around his house that he can integrate with his students. And that's the big challenge, I think, when we're in a field that starts with the activity, starts with the action, start making something, and much more challenging when students are in their home. Also, the other thing is that a big part of what we're charged to do in career tech is set up professional standards in terms of equipment to work with. Right now, that's one of the battles that I have, both here as well as with students, is how to get them the tools to edit, for example.
Yeah, and how to know. I know Renee Dodge was saying a similar thing, especially not knowing how each of their computers will work, not work, look, feel when a student's using it versus what it's used at home. A Chromebook. So she doesn't have a Chromebook to be able to try to see how you can find the feature that normally would be there on your regular laptop, how to even process the download or different things like that, or what features are on or off. Oh, my camera's not working. Well, it's because you're still using a system that the camera is speaking to. So you need to turn that one off in order to turn this one on, or who knows, you know? So all those different parts and pieces are hard to do without being right there. And even just students not knowing how to share a Google Doc, or how to upload properly, or, so you have those barriers on top of just the challenge of learning remotely, something that you normally don't learn remotely. So just very interesting.
Now, you are a graduate of the CTC, right?
Mm-hmm.
You did the CTC program.
Yeah, I did. I graduated with the digital media program.
Could you have imagined doing this back then?
No. I don't really think I could have. In a lot of ways, I feel like I would have been really frustrated that the stuff that I want to do, I'm not able to do. For instance, right now, Illustrator, they're having to kind of make a mock version of what that's like because the actual program's not available. I would probably be fortunate enough to be able to purchase the product myself and decide to do it on my own, which is what I did in college. But if you're not really sure if that's your career move, that's something hard to make a decision on if you're going to purchase or use it for a period of time. And even then, if I would be starting, like say I started Illustrator and I hadn't used it before, that would be also something that I would find challenging to learn just on my own. But even then, I would also say that, like we were talking about in another conversation, I'm similar to a student who just tries to catch on, and I'm able to work through challenges, which I feel like, I'm fortunate that I'm able to do that. But not all students feel comfortable or ready or able to do that process. And I don't think anybody's expecting them to at this point. We just want them to be able to feel successful and be able to move forward, because not having them move forward doesn't help anybody.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for catching up with me today.
Yep. You're very welcome.
Okay. We'll catch you next time.
All right.
Right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bill Rogers here with Katelyn Carrington, my boss and the head of the CTE. So starting with, what is CTE, CTC, IRS, USA? What is the CTC, and why CTC, why CTE? What is that?
Career tech education is, it's really connecting kids to a potential lifelong goal for them. And it's giving kids in a high school setting where they're comfortable, where they feel supported by adults, the opportunity to try something that is lifelong. So no matter what program they do, so a kid decides to do something in CTC, they may know that that's not the career of their choice, but they're going to learn skills that cross over into any type of career in any type of field. And they're doing it at a time where they have a really great mentor to support them. It's also an opportunity to get a jump start on, industry recognized credentials. So you can leave with things that other people get hired and have to get done, and it costs the employer money. So you leave with something that gives you a step up. And it also shows employers a commitment, to make a commitment to a 2-year program, to see that through to completion. That says something about yourself as a person. And I think CTE has really become, it's everywhere. You hear CTE in a lot of other places. The state of New Hampshire is really spending a lot of time discussing it because they know this is the opportunity that is the game changer for kids' lives. And these are kids that are going to college, and these are kids that are going right into the workforce, who maybe don't know what they want to do. This is a great way to start something, because at the end of the day, we all need something once we leave high school. And this, I think, is a starting point for a lot of our students.
Now, you mentioned when kids leave high school, and where does the high school end and the Career Tech Center begin? Is there a difference between Somersworth High School and Somersworth Career Tech Center?
I don't think so. And I think we've done a really great job in the last 6-7 years trying to look at it not as two separate things. As much as even in the renovation, we were very conscious about wanting to do the same coloring that the high school had. So you felt like we're all one in this together. If you look at it as a combined collaboration, the benefits are far better for kids than if you look at it as a separate entity. We should be working together collaboratively to provide kids with a pathway of planning, of coursework, a program of study that helps them reach what their end goal is after high school. And so, the schools that do it right work very collaboratively together and see it as a win-win for everybody. And schools that aren't working in that way, I don't think their kids benefit in the way that ours do. And we've worked really hard, and I think the state has worked really hard to view this as a part of a program of study for kids, not as a separate thing. And even our kids who go to a different school to do it, it is part of their program of study. And we try really hard to create systems that make it easy for the kids to do that. So, if you can have that mindset of this is part of it, I think you'll see better benefits than if you look at it as a separate part of the day.
That program of study, and when I think of, I started teaching at the University of New Hampshire, so I started on a very academic track, and then when I started teaching high school in Portsmouth first, learned what career tech was and is, and was trying to sort of wrap my head around how is that different from anything else. And like you say, is there a difference? But one of the things that seemed different in terms of an approach is you start with an activity. Got to have the is that a
Yeah, that's right. The blooper at the end.
Is to start with an activity, doing something, making something. That seems to me, when I tell students, why are you're now in a career tech program. You're here inside this career tech program.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that we do is we're going to start with making something. Not that any other class can't do the same thing, but that we start with the activity. The activity leads to what can you do, and the and the competencies that come out of that. Does that, when you're telling people what a career tech program is at you're at a family gathering or cocktail party or just party with friends, and say, what? Mm-hmm. So you head up the CTC? What the heck is that? How is it different from anything else in education?
I don't know if I would say it's a different style of learning. I think, you can view it that way. I think that's a very kind of superficial way to look at it, because yes, we have great equipment. Yes, we have industry-like lab spaces. I think that there's an application to the learning that is very real and very present for the kids in that moment. And I think the application of the learning and taking and I'm just going to say kind of the academic book work and to apply it to something really creates the connection for kids that sometimes we don't have the opportunity to always do in other classrooms just because of what is required in the curriculum and in the content. There isn't always that time, and career tech education has really been developed in a way to provide the time to make sure that we're giving kids the opportunity to apply the stuff they're learning, and that includes the core classes that they're taking. I mean, you will hear tons of stories of the building trades teacher that says, all of a sudden I hear the kids say, that's what they were talking about with angles and trigonometry and some of the fractions, and all of a sudden it just connects for them. And I think that's really the essence of, if I had to, it's the application of all the things that you take from a book, and you're given the space and the structure and the safety to try things with that.